Hello there, monsters and men, ladies and people, and welcome to Recharging, and welcome again to my home studio, where I will tell you about a road trip that I made with a few friends, and of course with my Hyundai Kona Electric. I do it this way. I wanted to do is in a vlog kind of style, but that didn't really work out. So again, that's why I do it this way, because I want to tell you about it anyway. So yeah, a road trip actually from Rotterdam, where I live, to the south of Germany, to Oberstdorf. Did I do a lot of preparation for it? Well, not really, because I already have a plug surfing RFID, a charge map RFID, and well, this is still called New Motion, but that is now Shell Recharge RFID. I did order a Maingau RFID just in case, but as it turned out, I didn't use it, but now I have it just in case. And I also have an RFID of my work, which I can also use. So basically no preparation was needed for this trip. So we started on a Saturday. We had to go from Rotterdam to the EIFEL in Germany, which is about 255 kilometers. I left Rotterdam with 100% state of charge. I had to pick up a few friends, so that added around 60 kilometers to the trip. So in total, I would have driven 310 kilometers. I could easily do that on one state of charge, because most of the driving was in the Netherlands and you can only drive 100 kilometers an hour, so the car is really efficient. But just across the border, I stopped anyway at the Ionity charger just in case, because I don't know how the charging conditions were at the apartment that we stayed. So again, I charged at Ionity, did a fast charging session for about 15-20 minutes, so around 30% was charged. Then we went to the apartment, and what turned out, it was at a farm, and I could just charge over there, which was really kind of those people. It was free. I could just use the wall plug. Again, it does not go fast, but it doesn't have to be if you can charge the whole night. Then you top up 30-40%, and that is enough. So that was really kind of those people. Here you actually see a video where I tried to do a vlog kind of style, but again, it didn't work out. But here you can see the shed where I could charge. Again, it was a wall plug, so not that fast. So then we had Sunday. On Sunday, we didn't really drive that far. We drove around a little bit to a few activities, but we didn't make a lot of kilometers. So I didn't use a lot state of charge. It is quite hilly, but you go up and you also go down, so that compensates for the efficiency. And only during dinner, we went to a little town and I charged there at a street charger. Luckily for me, the chargers in Germany are mostly 22 kilowatt chargers. Of course, the Kona EV can't handle that, but it still charged with 7 kilowatts, so that means 10% per hour. And we stayed there for around 2 hours, so that meant I had another 20%. And the car was, since we didn't drive that much, that 20% was actually enough to get the car to around, I think, 95%, something like that. So when we got back to the apartment, which again wasn't that far, I had 90% left. So on the Monday afterwards, we went further to the south. We went from the EIFEL to DETTINGEN am der ERMS, which is just past Stuttgart, which is a trip of 428 kilometers. I left there with 90% state of charge. So yeah, I couldn't do that in one go, because, well, you hit the Autobahn, you can drive fast, so I will drive fast. So you don't make that. And also because of a mistake that I made, it was my fault. I forgot something at the apartment, and the woman called when we were already 40 kilometers on our way. So we had to go back 40 kilometers, then again go back. So that added 80 kilometers to the trip. So in total that day we would have driven around 510 kilometers. You can't do that on one state of charge with Kona. So I charged at a Ionity charger. We arrived there with 30% state of charge. We charged it actually for quite long, I think 45-50 minutes, because we also had some lunch. So the car was charged to 90%, which was plenty to reach our destination in Dettingen am der ERMS. So that's pretty good. We could hammer it 150 kilometers per hour. You can do that in Germany, and sometimes that's pretty nice. So I arrived there with 30%. We actually had another apartment. We had the ground floor apartment, and a car park was next to it, right next to it. So I asked the lady at the reception, can I charge my car over here? Just put it in a wall plug, and put the charger through the window, put it in a wall plug, and that's it. And I was allowed to do that, so that was actually pretty nice. So I charged again the night from 30 to around 70%. So the next day, on Tuesday, we actually had a little activity. We had an activity planned, but that morning during breakfast, the homeowner came to our table, and she asked, "From who is that electric car?" "Well, it's mine." "Yeah, why is it charging?" "Well, because I asked it, because I want to go further, and they said yesterday that it was allowed." And she didn't agree. I wasn't allowed to do that. I didn't bother because, well, the car has been charged the whole night. So whatever, I just unplugged it, and half hour later we were going on anyway. But I didn't pay anything for it, but it wasn't allowed. But again, I charged anyway. So we started today with 70%. We drove to the activity, which was only around 20-30 kilometers. And then we went to Oberstdorf, which is a ride of 195 kilometers. But to Oberstdorf, it gets there are more mountains, it gets more hilly, goes more up and down. So I wanted to fast charge anyway, just in case, because again, I didn't know what the conditions were at Oberstdorf. So we actually stopped, not at a Ionity charger, but at a ENBW charger. I don't know how you say it in German, but that's how the company called. It's an energy company. It actually worked just fine with the RFID of my work. Good fast charger, worked like this without any trouble, which was great. Then we charged, I think, from 42 to 70% at the fast charger. So again, around 20 minutes, not that long. And then we went, and it was around, I think, the half. So the whole trip to Oberstdorf from DETTINGEN under ERMS was 195. And the charger was at around 90 to 100 kilometers. So we charged to 70%. We had to drive another 100 kilometers, and we arrived in Oberstdorf with 45%. There were no charging capabilities at the apartment, and we were just outside of the city. So later that evening, when we went for dinner, I again found the charger in the city, charged there. The RFID of my work actually didn't work there, so I used plug serving. I had the best luck with plug serving. It's great. Again, 22 kilowatt charger. We stayed there for 2 hours. So I had been charged. It was even a little bit more than I think 2.5 hours. So we had charged around 30%. So that meant I had around 70%, 75. I don't know the exact numbers anymore. But that was plenty, because on Wednesday, actually the day start was 67%. So we would have been charged to around 70% in Oberstdorf. At Wednesday, we started with 67%. I didn't charge at all that day because, well, when we went for dinner again in the evening, the charger was occupied. And to get to the other charger, for some reason, it was only 300 meters away, but you had to drive all around the town to get there. We didn't feel like it. And we had plenty of juice left. So Wednesday, no problems. And on Thursday, we actually went back north. So we first did an activity. We did a nice hike over a mountain. And then we head back north again to Stuttgart. So the drive from Stuttgart to Oberstdorf was 195. Well, actually from Dettingen under ERMS. And back from Oberstdorf to Stuttgart was 222 kilometers. I started today with around 55%. So we were not going to make it. So again, I stopped at the same fast charger as I did on the way south. I stopped at the same fast charger on the way north. But then on the other side of the road, same charger, same company, worked like a charm, no problem at all. And again, we stayed there for around 20 minutes. So we charged 30%. And that was enough to reach Stuttgart, because we stayed there at the hostel. And what was actually pretty nice, there was a charger in front of the hostel, again a 22 kilowatt charger. So I charged there all night. So that meant on Friday, when we headed home and had the longest ride, I started with 100% state of charge. So yeah, on Friday we had to drive 615 kilometers home. And I started with 100% state of charge, and that was actually pretty nice. I thought, well, let's not stop at a Ionity charger for a change, but let's stop at this was an Eon charger. I think it was around 250 kilometers away, something like that. And I chose the number 250 kilometers because I thought, well, the Autobahn, you drive a little bit faster, you will have more consumption. But what turned out, in those 250 kilometers, there was a lot of traffic, a lot of speed limits were only 100 or 120 kilometers an hour. So we actually drove pretty efficient, which I didn't expect. But then you have to charge a little bit less, which is not bad. So we arrived at the Eon charger. For some reason, there were 4 chargers, all 4 didn't work at all. Well, we have driven 250 kilometers. So we had plenty of juice left to then drive another 30 kilometers and go to a Ionity charger, which, I don't know, they just work. Why didn't Eon work? I don't get it. They should have worked according to, I think they should have worked with plug serving and for Shell recharge, but for some reason, they didn't. So again, Ionity, we had again some lunch. We stopped there for 30, 40 minutes, something like that. So we had plenty of juice. I think we were around 80%. We have plenty of juice left for part of the trip. Maybe we charged even more. I can't remember exactly. But we have plenty of juice left for the rest of the trip. But it was strange though that at that Ionity charger, instead of getting 200 amps like the Hyundai Kona can handle, I was only getting 180 amps. So 66 kilowatts instead of 73. I don't know why. Maybe I expect that the battery was too hot because it was a pretty hot day, but I don't know exactly. Maybe it was a fault with the charger. Still 180 amps is still enough, but it was kind of weird that I didn't get the full 200 amps. Don't really have an explanation then, or a faulty charger, or maybe the battery was too hot. I don't know, but again, Ionity works. So we head to the Netherlands. To make it home, I had to charge for another maybe 10 minutes, so not that long. Also at the Ionity charger, but in the Netherlands we also have Fastnet, which works pretty well. Well, very good actually. So yeah, no problems at all. At that 615 kilometers, I think we actually drove how fast we wanted to drive. So when there was unlimited speed limit in Germany, I actually like to drive around 150 kilometers an hour, something like that. I could just do that. And what surprised me is actually that the Hyundai Kona, even on the Autobahn, is still pretty efficient. More efficient than I initially thought it would be. Oh, crap. So actually, on the whole trip, the conclusion, we have driven in total of 2,145 kilometers. So that's actually quite a lot for 1 week of driving. And well, as a conclusion, what surprised me the most is that, well, I've been to France last year. That wasn't good in terms of charging and a fast charger that work. A lot of 50 kilowatt chargers instead of faster chargers. It just wasn't that great. And what surprised me that in Germany it's really mature already, and more fast chargers are coming because the government is making it mandatory for gas stations to have fast chargers on the Autobahn, on the highway over there. So that's actually pretty nice. And also in the cities, no problems at all. Again, free charging at some apartments, which I think will not happen in the future when more people are driving electric cars, because, well, it will get quite expensive for those homeowners, for those owners, which I understand. I mean, I want to pay for it. At least as I can charge, it's fine. So yeah, everything worked out pretty great. It was a great road trip. It was a nice experiment for me with my Hyundai Kona to go a little bit further, to make that long trip, to drive 2,000 kilometers, 800 kilometers away, to drive 600 kilometers on one day, because I've never done that. So yeah, all was well. So what I recommend that you would get if you go on this kind of trip, get plug serving RFID and Shell recharge. Those are the two main things that you can use in Germany. I think Ionity is still expensive on those, so if you want to charge on Ionity, Maingau is cheaper because I think it's only 30 cents per kilowatt instead of the 80. So yeah, that was it. I hope it was clear. I hope you liked it that I wanted to share this experience with you anyway, even though I didn't make a vlog. Maybe I do it next time. But I also ordered a microphone, which didn't really work well. But yeah, I hope you liked this experience, and don't be afraid to do those longer trips. You are going to be fine, especially when you do it in steps. You drive 300 kilometers a day, for example, slowly go down, then you're absolutely fine at least in Germany. So yeah, that was it. I hope you liked this video. If you did, well, please give a like and subscribe. And if you did not, please leave a comment below to see what I can improve. And then I would like to say now, as always, thank you a lot for watching, and to be continued.